Welcome to We Are the Hansons, and today we're going to talk about eggs. It sounds like a boring topic, but when you have 13 kids, you go through a lot, and I mean a lot of eggs. What do you think?
Yes, we spend a lot of money on eggs.
Yeah, so like this is a killer for us with the egg prices the way they are, but it's not just that, because all eggs are not made equal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Fresh eggs are the best.
Yeah, I mean, people ask weird questions all the time, like, where do you save money? How do you save money? Well, eggs and buying eggs in the right place, especially when you're spending as much on eggs as we do, I mean, that really, really does make a difference.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Now, the cheapest and best eggs that we ever had was when we were able to raise our own chickens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had, 40 some chickens? And
we did.
We were overloaded with eggs, but we used them.
Right. And the other thing is you get to, so if you, some people won't like this, but you know, the meat and chicken on the shelf doesn't just grow on the shelf. It actually comes from farms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we raised our own chickens. We had a few different types. We had some Rhode Island Reds.
Yep. And then we had
the ones with the feathers on the feet.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were. They were like Barred Rock something.
Yeah, they were all great. But I'll tell you, the Barred Rock were smarter because the coyotes would come in.
And they would sleep on the top of the vehicles.
They would. I hated it because they'd crap all down the side of the car. But I really did like the Rhode Island Reds for taste, because eggs do taste different.
They definitely do. I like the brown eggs. I've had, the green ones and the regular white ones, but the brown eggs I think are my favorite.
Well, there's mini eggs, there's blue-colored eggs, there's speckled eggs, there's brown eggs, there's white eggs, there's ostrich eggs, there's duck eggs, quail eggs. I've pretty much eaten them all, and I'm just an egg guy.
Yeah, I don't mind duck eggs either.
See, I remember when I was very young, everybody always used to say the health benefits of eggs, and it was so important to eat so many eggs at a time. And then it went through this period where they're like, oh no, eggs are terrible for you. They're high in cholesterol and they're blah, blah. You remember those days?
I do remember those days.
It was at the same time that they'd crack the eggs and put them in the frying pan and be like, this is your brain. And then they'd crack the other ones and go, this is your brain on drugs. You remember those commercials?
I do remember those.
Okay, so, we were always left wondering, well, how healthy is an egg? And now it has came out in a lot of places that the food pyramid is complete BS. Have you heard that?
I have heard that. I think you told me that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these different scientists have came out and said that. How does that make you feel as a mother that's been trying to raise your kids in a nutritious way?
A little angry, just because, why would you put something out there and then we try and follow that and now it's bogus?
So I think me and you, as husband and wife, we've kind of came to the agreement that is naturally clean and natural that we can get. That's the best thing for us.
Yes.
When you look at cancer rates, do you know since 2017, childhood cancer has spiked 40%?
Yeah, I heard that. It's disgusting.
It is really disgusting. And it's got to be something. I mean, it's got to be something we're eating. It's got to be something that we're doing to have that big of an increase, wouldn't you say?
I just actually heard that our foods, a lot of what we eat, have poisons in them.
Oh, they do. And the reason that they do isn't because they're trying to poison us. The reason that they do is because if they don't have a customer, they're not going to make any money. But the reason that there's those things in there is because they're trying to make it last longer or not fresh.
Yeah. So when we had our chickens, we didn't feed them anything. They free roamed. We fed them like their normal foods.
We had the stones that we gave them, and then we had like chicken feed from the local
feed store.
It was the local feed store.
Yep.
And that was all like corn and different things that the local farmers brought in. And I'll tell you, I miss that so much because those eggs were so tasty.
That, and we knew where what they were getting for feed. So we knew that the eggs
Absolutely.
were going to be great.
Well, we knew what was in them. And you know what? I have been where they have these huge chicken farms, and the chickens don't even really move.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's disgusting.
So today I want to talk, there are so many things. And when you're strapped for money, when you have a large family, you have to do everything that you can to try to alleviate some of the hemorrhaging of money that you're going through every month. And I think eggs is one of those places you start. The cheapest and the best by far is by growing your own.
Yeah.
Okay, most people, I remember back in the day when they're like, oh, you got to get store-bought eggs. You got to get store-bought eggs. Well, then you find out that store-bought eggs are not the same as farm-raised eggs, even to the point that you can leave farm eggs out on your counter. You don't even have to refrigerate them.
Yep, as long as they're not washed and stuff.
Not washed. Explain that to the people, please.
Well, after they're laid, you don't want to wash them because the outside
Coating.
is coating. Yeah, and it's like
It's
to
nature's
keep them
way.
fresh. Yes.
Yeah, it's a protective coating from nature. There's no preservatives. There's no chemicals. There's nothing. Literally, they them out and they got a protective coating on them, and they last for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So, if you can't do that, then what we have found is if you go on Facebook groups, there's always people selling free range and organic eggs.
Yeah.
My thing is, if they're free range, unless they're in some sort of enclosure, how do you know that they're organic?
Yeah.
You don't really.
Don't.
But free range is way better than buying store-bought eggs because at least they're healthy. They're getting to move. You know what they're eating. At these egg factories, all they're doing is doing things as cheap as possible to make the most amount of profit. Like there's a scale in there. They figured out if we give them this much food, they'll produce an egg this big, and we can sell that egg for this much, right?
Yeah.
And then how long does it live, and blah blah blah. So we were talking earlier. What is your favorite meal with eggs?
I like omelets a lot.
Okay, so tell me your perfect omelet.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
So if you're out in the country, you can raise all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, cheese can be a little bit hard to get good tasting cheese, but you can go right to your local dairy.
Yeah.
And you can get cheese there.
Yes.
So just bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
How about onion? How about green pepper?
I like loaded
Omelets.
omelets too. I like quiche too, which you can put anything in that.
Oh, quiche is like egg pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love quiche. I love omelets if they're done right. Like if they use and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, but if you use store-bought eggs, the cheap ones, the $7 a frickin' dozen cheap ones, if you use those, it seems like the omelet's dry.
It is, and it's not very big.
Right. And the thing is, farm-bought eggs, like the yolk itself, seems like it's a darker color and seems like it has more flavor.
It does. And I think that's just because it's fresh.
I agree with that. Like, do you like just breakfast casseroles in general?
Yeah.
Like, some have sausage, some have bacon, some have ham. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Skillets.
Ham where they take the egg and they roll it up in the ham or the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then the cheese in the middle, that, and then put a croissant around it. Mm-hmm. That stuff is heavenly. And it's actually cheap if you start buying things. Like right now, you can go get organic eggs from the farmer for what, $3.50 to $4 a dozen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got very, very active, very, very early. One, having our own garden, and you do not need a big garden for a bunch of vegetables to come out of it.
No, you don't. We've actually had a garden in buckets, 5-gallon buckets.
Right. And then if you notice around the country, all these little towns, they're pretty much saying that you can raise chickens like in a chicken coop in the back. Now, you can do that also. Even in some cities, they're going to allow you to do that. And you're way better off. That you can get into the ethics and all that stuff. But you want some tasty food, start growing your own. It's so much cheaper. Tell them about our tomato experience.
So we went to this lady and we got a bunch of tomato plants that she had started because she did this for a living.
And we didn't know much about, I mean, we helped mom and dad and grandpa and grandma in the garden, but we didn't know much about gardening, you know.
We got 25 tomato plants. And needless to say, we had tomatoes coming out of our ears.
Right. We would go out there and even the kids would come out and help and we would weed whack, or not weed whack, but pull the weeds in between the plants. We had that. We had watermelons. We had pumpkins. We had, what else did we have out there?
Squash, cucumbers.
Cucumbers are okay. Squash.
Muskmelons.
Some people like it. But what I'm saying is, what did that whole garden cost us to plant? Everything.
Probably $15.
Right. And we had at that time, well, we had 4 and 2, so 7 kids.
Yep.
And we were like it was great. And then we learned how to do things like canning and freezing. And I want to have another show just about that because that saved us so much money and it's so much better.
Yeah.
You know, today we're talking about eggs, but there's ways, there's actually groups of people that know where to get eggs. There's Facebook groups of people that, hey, well, call this person or call that person, or I know this person's selling some. So you can get around the high prices that we're seeing, and it's much, much more nutritious. Like, you know me, I am hard fried egg. I am over easy egg. I am egg sandwich. I am omelets. I am French toast. I am quiche. I'm eggs Benedict. I don't care what way the eggs come, I eat them, right?
Yes.
So even this, take your eggs, hard fry them, okay? And then put a little bit of spaghetti sauce over the top of them, and then throw a little bit of spaghetti and eggs.
I don't know about that.
See, I mean, you're wrong, and that's okay to be wrong. I'm not saying it isn't, but eggs make everything better.
My mom used to make us spaghetti, just the noodles.
Yep.
And then she'd scramble eggs and throw it in there and mix it up. And then she'd add ketchup.
Yep, I've seen people do. My grandpa ate ketchup on his eggs, which I prefer not to. But I have had omelets with Tabasco, and that's very, very good.
I like ketchup on my egg sandwiches.
But if you're feeding a bunch of kids every day and you're going per meal, so like let's just say that you're doing it cheap and you're doing $2-3 a meal. Well, you add the parents into that, and you got 5 kids, well, you're at $21 every time you eat. That's the cheap stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So buying cheap eggs is imperative because whether you're baking, whether you're making breakfast, I mean, a lot of times we even have breakfast for supper sometimes.
Yep, the kids love it.
So from the store, this is science now. This is newlifehomestead.com. From the store versus farm fresh eggs, the size and color are different.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with the types of chickens that you have, like, you know, what is the breed, but also the way that they're done. The chemicals and stuff that they're actually washed under are different. So how many times in the store do you see brown eggs? Not very often.
Yeah, not very often. There is some, but
It usually says organic or something like that next to them. But there's definitely shell and yolk differences. Like, you know, the shells can get tough depending on what you feed them if we're growing them on the farm.
yeah,
But that just means you have a healthy chicken.
yeah. And like the last eggs we got that were farm fresh eggs, when you opened the thing, there was a little paper in there that told about the eggs and how fresh they were and what
Exactly.
your chickens eat.
I'm telling you right now, folks, just like the vegetables that you see in Walmart, the eggs are months old when you get them.
Ugh, yuck.
I mean, it is what it is. That's how they're able to do this. Now, like with apples and things like that, they put them in a great big warehouse and they fumigate them with different chemicals to try to keep them around as long as possible.
Yeah. It's kind of gross when you think about it. And then, you know, that would explain why a lot of times people get sick.
Get sick or what's happening with our kids' health. Do you know that our kids are the most medicated of any kids on the planet in history?
Why is that?
I think it's because of what they're eating.
Oh, I'm sure it's because of what they eat.
I mean, the mental health issues could be from, social projections and how much screen time they have, not getting out, associated. I mean, there's so many dysfunctions in our society. The least we can do is buy the right eggs for our kids. I mean, that's a start, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's actually taste differences. And everybody used to say, well, an egg is an egg. I'm telling you, every different egg, I think, has a little bit different flavor. Yeah, they all taste like eggs. But that's like saying that venison and elk and moose all taste the same because they're all part of the same family.
Well, you can tell when it's fresh and when it's not.
Well, you can, and you can also tell if you're eating
flavor.
pheasant or if you're eating chicken.
Yeah.
Or turkey. They have 3 different tastes, even though they're 3 different birds. Eggs are the exact same way. So eggs, to some people, can be a delicacy.
I believe that.
So what do you think about the ethical differences in buying eggs? Like, I'm not going to browbeat somebody because they stop and buy eggs from somewhere, but do you think that we have an ethical responsibility to be buying our food in a place that is healthy for the environment? And, I don't know. There's a lot of people that see this ethical thing about, well, they keep these chickens in the thing. I just look at it like, well, the eggs aren't going to be as healthy. I feel bad for the chickens, but, humans are the apex on the priority list.
I think I'd rather buy farm fresh local on meats and eggs than I would any store.
Oh, for sure. And how many different places have we found eggs besides going to the little markets and flea markets and, stuff like that? If you're driving in the country, a lot of times you'll just see eggs for sale signs sitting out in the middle of nowhere, at least in our part of the country.
A lot of areas around here are like that, yep.
And then there's Facebook groups.
And the Amish.
And health food stores. The thing that I've found about health food stores is they always try to make a little bit on it. Whatever, everybody's got to make money. But if you go in and you tell the owner of your local health food store, this is what I'm looking for, they almost always know somebody that's selling whatever it is you're looking for.
Yep. That's like that with almost anything in their store, like honey or anything like that. They'll know where to get it.
Well, listen to this. This is scientific fact. There are nutritional differences between buying eggs in the store and buying eggs on the farm. Multiple studies have proved that farm fresh eggs are more nutritious than their store-bought counterparts. Not only do farm fresh eggs tend to have less saturated fat and cholesterol, but they tend to be higher in omega-3 fatty acids along with vitamin A, D, E, and beta-carotene. So it's not only cheaper, it's not only better nutritionally for you, it's not even the ethical thing. It's that everything that's good for your pocketbook, that's good for your gut, that's good for your heart, comes from those eggs, the farm-raised eggs.
Yeah.
And it gets even better if you can raise them yourself. So if you get the chance, do this. And then people say, well, I'm not spending $5 in gas to go get, $4 in eggs. Well, it might be worth it
in the store anyway.
That's the thing. If you do it right, you should be on your way, stop here and grab them. Or you talk to the person, where do you have these out? Is there any stores around? Or is there any gas stations? Is there anybody that has them? How else would you do it?
I don't know. I don't see how people can say that because Walmart, you're paying $8 for a carton of eggs.
7 I saw it for, $7.29.
Wow. And then you could pay the few dollars plus $4 and it totals out to $8 anyway. So fresh or not fresh?
See, we're a little bit different. There is a local butcher here that we get our beef, which is 1,000% better than any big store beef. Wouldn't you say their burger?
For sure.
Then we have another young couple that has free-range chickens. They do all their own butchering. We buy our chicken, a lot of it from them. Mm-hmm. Not all the time. I mean, we're like every other American family. Sometimes you're at the store and you're like, oh, man, I got to grab it. So you just grab it.
Yeah.
And then if we're close to another town here, we'll stop and get milk because everything that is mass-produced to make money has less nutritional value than the things that you can get in your local area.
We have a friend that they have a dairy farm, and they put their milk in glass bottles, and their milk is so good.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. And, that's what we're saying with the eggs here. There are alternatives to the big box stores for eggs, and it's healthier for you. They taste better. And you know what? You kind of get to build some relationships with people. Like we still talk to people that, we bought stuff from a long time ago, whether it's vegetables, plants, whatever it is. We've done it, and we've developed some relationships with those people.
Yep. And I plan to start a garden soon. So we'll have our own vegetables instead of buying the yucky ones from Walmart or wherever.
One of the coolest things that I have seen is they are now making, like they call them skyscraper gardens, where outside your window in apartment buildings, they got this hanging thing that you can now grow your own vegetables up there.
Nice.
I think that's awesome. But anyways, you remember Monday, we found out today that the We Are the Hansons
family.com
will be up. It might be up now, but they were having some issues with it. Anyways, and then our newsletter also comes on Monday. The first time it's going out, I heard from a bird that you're going to be putting some recipes in there that we, the Hansons, use.
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I'm not gonna let her put my secret smoking barbecue recipes on there.
No, you think so?
Well, they're all in my head.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be a good time. We're going to have some great things.
You can get on over to our YouTube channel, We Are the Hansons, and subscribe. Or if you have any questions for us or you want to hear anything about us, send us a message on We Are the Hansons Facebook or We Are the Hansons show@gmail.com.
Thank you much.